Warning, the show you're about to hear contains strong sexual adult content, situations, and other material you may find offensive. If you are under 18 or easily offended, please leave now. For everyone else, please stay tuned for Real Talk Lifestyle.
Hi, welcome to Real Talk. We're your hosts,
I'm Rob.
and I'm Sarah. Please join us as we discuss the swinging lifestyle.
Hello and welcome to tonight's podcast. I am Rob and this is Sarah, and tonight we have a special show in line. We are going to be interviewing Becca and Dean. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Good. They're brand new in the lifestyle, so we thought it would be fun to bring you guys on and give your perspective of joining the lifestyle. Kind of get your views, what kind of got you into this, where you are, what you think so far, and where you see yourself progressing, and kind of go from there. We usually start out with a news story, so Sarah is going to go ahead and give her little spiel.
Oh, lovely. I found a news story. It was about a community theater group, and they were doing a production of James the Giant Peach. And one of the props for the production was supposed to be a giant peach. Well, it doesn't look like a giant peach. I can tell you that now.
You closed your news story out, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Did you save it?
No, it's here. Okay. So you want to show that to the camera?
I'll see if I can show that. I don't know if the camera is going to be able to pick that up or not. I guess you'll have to kind of describe what it looks like, because it's not going to pick it up too well.
It looks like a giant vagina. And like I said, it was supposed to be a kid's production, and when people seen the prop, they made little comments like, looks like they're going to get a standing ovulation. One lady commented that she goes, the production is wholesome, the rest of us are just perverts. So I don't know if we're just perverts, but I don't think it has anything to do with being a pervert. It really does look like a giant vagina. So if you guys want to look at it, it's Huffington Post. James and the Giant Peach stage prop looks a lot like a giant something else. So if you guys want to check it out, it is pretty funny. So, but yeah,
Not bad. I don't know how you find these. I can't never find this stuff.
I go into Weird News. Believe it or not, they have a lot of sites, and it's called Weird News. You just put it in, and you get all these really strange news stories. So, and then, actually, some of them, like the one I did last week about the house that had the dungeon in the bedroom, that was on Fox News. So,
Right.
I mean, you know me. I like to look through all the news stories and the weird stuff. So, and Reddit has one where they have a lot of weird news. So if you guys ever get curious, check out Reddit, because they have a lot of interesting stories on there too.
Okay. Well, we want to thank everybody that's tuned in, and feel free to send any questions you have. You can ask Becca and Dean anything you like. They'll try to answer it if it's in line and they feel comfortable with it. You can also ask us questions as well, and we'll answer anything. We don't care.
Of course.
So go ahead and type in anything. We'll be able to see it, and we'll answer it as we go through the show. So why don't you start out by telling us your guys' ages?
I am 27.
And I'm 24.
Okay. Are you guys married?
Yes.
Okay. How long you been married?
About 6-7 months.
6 or
Can
7
you do
months.
it?
I guess the question
Guys
would be
always-
how long have you been together versus
Well, yeah. I mean, guys always stumble on anniversaries and how long they've been married. I just think
he forgets every year. So
So how did the topic of getting into the lifestyle come about? Who brought that up?
It was sort of me. We had talked about bringing a girl in, had a few conversations about that, found out how hard that is to just
Right.
do. So we were sort of hitting a wall, and I talked to one of my dancer friends, and she suggested maybe checking out swinger parties. So we were putting looks out for that, and stumbled upon the club, and so I mean, then it was just a matter of, okay, well, here's an option. So
Right. So was it mainly your idea looking for the female, or?
it was sort of agreed, I'd say.
It started out with him, and then as we
It usually
continued
does.
Right.
as we continued to talk about it and everything, I started becoming more and more open to it.
Sure.
And then, we started, and we came here for the first time, and I didn't know really what to expect, but
So the first time you came into the club, what were your thoughts? I'm sure you were nervous as hell before you got here, but what was your thoughts once you got through the door?
I was a mess before getting here. Once we got here, I started calming down a little bit. Especially, we didn't really talk to anyone our first time.
Mm-hmm.
It was just and it was mainly because of me, because I wanted to sit back and just observe
Sure.
everything the first time around. And so we were just kind of sitting off in the corner. And the first night I don't like considering it the first night, because it wasn't really, we didn't interact with anyone.
Sure.
We didn't talk with anyone. It was really the second time around that I consider our first time here, because it's our
Right.
first time actually being in the room and talking with people.
Sure.
And
Well, and we have a lot of people that just come and sit back and observe, and that's totally fine. We highly encourage that, because, again, we always preach you don't have to do anything you don't want to or you're not
Correct.
ready for in the lifestyle. So, have you had much luck meeting females, even in the club setting? How has that worked out for you so far?
since getting into it, we've kind of changed it a little bit, which I've heard does happen. Like,
Sure.
we got in just looking for that, but then now we're here, and we're starting to kind of look at all of the different options. Just kind of taking one step at a time. We haven't really gone out looking yet. It's still a lot of just trying to make friends.
Sure.
And just trying to build the relationships with people right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say we've probably shifted more towards looking for a couple that we could maybe
Right.
get into a physical aspect. But right now we're just very much in a get to know people.
Sure. Well, and you can always cross that line with the soft swapping and, starting from there and building. And you could still hit that thing, where maybe the girls sit back and play and the guys kind of watch. So that's always an option as well. Have we had any questions come through yet? Sorry, I didn't even look. Okay.
No, I have a question. Since you guys are so young, what kind of brought you into it? Because we normally see people that are a lot older and have been in a relationship a lot longer. Because after years and years together, they usually get bored and they're like, well, let's add some spice. But with you guys being so young and your relationship so new, I just wondered, what made you guys want to try the lifestyle?
Was it just a girl thing, or?
That was the main focal point. But we've tried a lot of we've done a lot of things that we hadn't done before.
Right.
In a rather short amount of time, so it was just always looking for what's something else. Pretty much just going over everything we could do. So,
Do you think there are a lot of more younger people getting into the lifestyle? Have you run into that, or?
we've interacted with more younger couples since we've been coming. The second time we came, we met a younger couple, and we've hung out with them a couple times outside of the club.
Nice.
Yep. And then this last time we met another younger couple that was it was their first time, and so we gave them a couple heads up, like, here's what we experienced, and
that's that's good. When you're with a couple, we've always said communication, not only between your spouse and yourself, but always a communication with other couple to find out what they're really into before you ever go and play with them, because that way you won't run into an issue that you're not comfortable in or they're not comfortable in. I think that when you're meeting new people, it's best to just give them your expectations, what you're looking for, and be honest about it, and and ask them the same thing, exactly where you guys at, because sometimes even the things you think you're okay with will freak you out.
Yeah.
I think Becca had an experience like that, did you not?
Which
it was the upstairs thing.
Yeah, so it was
the first time.
Our first time.
Okay,
when
yeah,
we were in
the
the
first
open-
time, actually first time that we were here. Yeah, we went, and after observing for a little bit, we decided to go upstairs and just to the main seating area and mess around a little bit. It was a little intimidating at first, just because there were other couples already up there, and so we sat down, and I was able to kind of get to a point where I didn't so much notice.
Right.
But then people started coming up and talking, and there were people sitting there watching, and it just got to be, especially with our first time here, we didn't know what to talk about. We didn't know what to expect, and we were in no way prepared. And so I ended up having mini heart attack. Like, I freaked out, and I actually ended up just walking out. Like, I needed fresh air. It was a lot for the first time, and it took a lot to come back the second time, but I am so glad that I was able, he convinced me to come back a second time. He's like, let's just go hang out now that we know kind of what to talk about and what to do. And I'm glad we came that second time.
I'm glad. And the reason I had you recount that story is because I do want the viewers to know it is baby steps, and things you think you're comfortable with, when it happens, sometimes you freak out, and sometimes you're thinking, okay, you're up there, you're fine with it, but then something will happen and it'll freak you out, and that's okay. I mean, things you're gonna experience stuff that you may be comfortable with and you may not. I mean, that's part of the lifestyle. It's all a learning process. It's all baby steps, like you said. It's steps. You can change them anytime you want. Just make sure that that the steps you're doing are what you're comfortable with, and they're concrete, and you're not going to go, well, why don't we push it, and but without really talking about it, just say at the spur of the moment, okay, we should do this. Well, maybe not. It's always a good idea to talk about it beforehand, and it's fine to have those moments where you're like, I don't know if I like this, and that's where you build from that. If you because everybody's had an experience where they're like freaked out. I've told everybody about my experience, my first house party that I went to. Yeah. Where I got caught up in the group room, because apparently I wasn't paying attention on the tour, didn't realize that I was in the orgy room. So and after that experience, I told him, I said, I don't want to ever go to another party ever again. And I was like you, he convinced me, we had one bad experience. Doesn't mean they're all going to be like that. He goes, we just know next time not to go into that room, or, we just know that we need to, discuss what we want to do and what we don't want to do. Because, yeah, it took me a little bit for him to convince me it was fine to go back. But it is nice to talk to new people, because, you sharing your experiences helps other new people like you guys that are watching, that are new, it helps them get through their experience as well. So maybe they won't make a mistake like that. So that's what we want to have with the podcast, is we want to, prevent anybody from having anything they're not comfortable doing.
Well, I know for me, I noticed with a lot of people, initiating conversation, finding things to talk about when you go up to brand new, it's so difficult, because you really don't know what to talk about. No. It's not like you're gonna go up and talk about the weather or something. I mean, because you're in a club setting, and you have to just open yourself up a little bit and just start with basics, I guess, and build.
I think no, not talking about the weather, but I think small talk, like, hey, how are you? Are you from here? What are your ages? Stuff like that. But then after that, you're sitting there going, okay, now what do I say?
And I think once you start getting into it, it kind of becomes more easy.
It does.
And the conversation just kind of flows.
Flows
as
a
well.
lot easier, yeah.
So, and I mean, you guys spend a lot of time out in the tent area, and it just seems like it's so friendly and outgoing out there. It's such a
It's
relaxing,
different, yeah. Much
It's-
different atmosphere.
It's very different. It is actually the last couple times we've been here, like my favorite place, because I don't know what the difference is about it, but when you're in there, it's, you know, you're smoking and everything, and you're just hanging out, and you just start talking.
Yeah.
But then you get into
music's
this.
not as loud out there either.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it was a little loud in the club because, you know, we have the DJ, Mr. Rob over here.
And the dance
The
floor.
dudes on the dance floor, yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot easier to talk out there, and that's why like, the last couple times we've gotten so lost in conversation out there that we just.
Well, and it's just a completely different atmosphere. It's so much more relaxing with the fire pits and everything too. I think.
I think that really helps.
Yeah.
It makes it
Yeah.
a more intimate atmosphere than inside. So, yeah. When,
Well, do you have? What else do you have? What would you like to?
Basically, you guys said you're looking for females. What made you decide? Was it meeting other couples that maybe you were thinking maybe of bringing them in? Or, you know, because at first you said you wanted just a female. So what made you guys kind of, is it talking to couples that made you decide you wanted to do that?
I mean, we haven't really run into a single female here, so we've just, you know, we figured we're gonna be spending more time talking to couples, and you know,
Right.
it just sort of shifted to that.
My take is like we started talking to the couples, and I don't know, I just felt a little more comfortable talking to a couple rather than just a
Sure.
single.
Female?
Yeah. And so like the couples just kind of made me feel a little more welcome, like okay, and I guess I don't really know how to put it.
No.
You're doing fine. No, single females, that's everybody's fantasy. I mean, you go in the bedroom and that is your hot sex talk right there. Wouldn't it be hot, honey, if, you know, we brought in enough? Yeah. But
if you can find them,
if
that's
you
the
could,
thing.
yeah, they're really hard to find. But on the female aspect, I don't know about Becca, but when we started playing with a single female, I always felt that, you know, what if my husband takes more of an interest in the other female than me? Has that crossed your mind, or have you guys had discussions about that, or?
That was when he started talking to me about all of this, you know, getting me ready to be okay with this.
Right.
That was my biggest concern, was that, yeah, he would end up choosing her, you know, think it would kind of go in the middle of our relationship.
Right.
I also had a fear of, you know, maybe when he first brought it back up for the first time, that I wasn't good enough. That was a big thing. That's kind of what my mind was at when the first time and I think that's part of the reason why it didn't help me here, was that was kind of what I was walking in here with.
Right.
But yeah, after coming and really talking to everyone, and the podcast so far have helped just amazingly.
See, guys, we're not doing this for nothing.
We really are passionate about this. That's exactly why we do it. And that brings up a good point, you know, especially when you bring another female into the mix, you're so worried about the guy focusing more attention on her, and not pleasing your partner as well in that, because in a guy's mind, they're kind of like, oh, this is so hot. But, you know, if you're watching two females together and the guy's just kind of sitting back watching, I mean, we're not going to lie, that's the guy's ultimate fantasy is to see that.
Yeah.
But it changed the dynamics a little bit when the guy is actually participating.
It does, and honestly, we've had fights at the end of the night about that very subject. You know, we would go in the room, and we did get lucky enough to have single females. But even when we've been with couples, in his mind, he's like, I need to please my wife. I need to, you know, please the other female as well. So it's a struggle for them too, because they're like, am I giving her enough attention? Am I giving the other girl enough attention?
Yeah.
You know, and there would be nights we'd play with a couple or a single female, and at the end of the night I'd yell, I'm like, why did you spent 10 minutes kissing her and you give me a quick peck? What the hell, you know? And in his mind, he goes, I'm going to please you later after all this is over, and it's going to be different because, I love you, but this is, just a sex thing. But he after we had those conversations, he actually was more mindful about, okay, I got to make sure I pay attention to her. And the other one, he goes, because I'm going home with her, and she's going to make my life miserable if I don't, pay attention to her. So, even afterwards, he always made it a point, after we played with somebody, he always made it a point to come over and give me a kiss or, hold my hand or something, just to let me know that I'm important. Mm-hmm. And that this to him is really just a sex thing. It's not, it's not like he's trying to get in a relationship with somebody else. He's not trying to romance this female, It's, he's always done little things. And I should tell couples, too, that after you guys play with another couple, always go over and stroke your wife or give her a kiss or that way.
Stroking your husband.
That, too. That way that lessens that fear that, okay, he likes that other female better than me. Mm-hmm. Because we all of us females have had it, or, like the girl, if they're doing a really good job with the other female and she's screaming and you're sitting there going, okay, what the hell? Because you're like going, oh man, he's really, bringing out all the best moves for this one, And you don't realize at the time, the best moves are actually later on after he gets done playing with them and then he plays with you, because then he turns into that really sweet romantic guy that you fell in love with, and the sex is just mind-blowing. But yeah, I think that, for you gentlemen, that's probably good advice. Go for a kiss so you don't run into that, well, you like her more. So...
With that, I remember our first time, when we got back, we got into the biggest fight, and it was because of, me shutting down. He didn't quite understand it. Like, he wasn't understanding, and we weren't on the same page. Mm-hmm. And so that got really hard. That whole time that before the next time we got back here, we were fighting a lot. Just, it felt like, everything was just falling apart. But then we came the second time, and we talked to everyone, and you guys were just so amazing, and, we were talking to the other couples, and they were really listening to us. And right. I don't think we got home until past 3. And we ended up staying until like 7 o'clock in the morning. We stayed up just talking. Mm. Talking about everything. And we were finally on the same page.
And that's it, we can't stress that enough. Communication. Because if you do not talk about it, because women have a habit of thinking, well, I'm making myself clear. Why isn't he getting it? And a lot of times we think, well, he should understand right away what's wrong, Mm-hmm. And they don't. Sorry, guys. A lot of times you are absolutely clueless.
That's because you talk in code.
Not all the time.
No, but, like they're saying, if you don't communicate, it can really especially in this lifestyle, it can break down your relationship. So that is the most important thing to always, before you even move to another step. Like, did you guys have the conversation of, like, okay, now we're starting to think about couples. What is it that you want to see? What is it you're comfortable with? Have you guys had that conversation yet?
We're getting around to that.
So you're still building.
I was going to say, like, even back to the first time we came, there was conversations to be had, but we didn't really know what they were.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that just sort of led me into trouble.
Right.
But, we've sort of, now that we're moving to, a point where we're...
A different dynamic.
It's something we've sort of talked about but haven't really gotten too much into.
Right.
So.
Every time we come, like the night before we come, we sit down, whether it's outside we're having a smoke or, just sitting in the living room, we'll kind of talk about where we're at that moment. Mm. What would be the farthest we would want to do when we're there. We've even started talking about different codes of, okay, well, if this is said, this is where we're at. Mm. And we've both...
I say, grapefruit, give me the hell out of there. Yeah, no, that's a good idea, yeah.
Just kind of little things just to kind of hint towards each other. That way we can kind of still have our own conversation while talking to the couples.
And that's good.
And we've both kind of realized that, especially with me, each day's different. Like, I've got some days at home where I'm just like, I can't, like, you know, it's just, but then other days I'm okay. It's just, you know, those bad days, the days where I'm just kind of not really feeling it.
Right.
I don't want to go.
Right.
And we've had that conversation where, you know, it's gonna change from week to week. You know,
it is.
We might plan on going out to a club that next weekend, but then that weekend comes and I'm just like, I can't this weekend.
Right.
So we've both kind of gotten and understood that we both need to be on the same page before we do anything.
You do. Yeah. And I you know, that is a good thing that you're, you know, telling each other, well, you know, I'm not really feeling it, because you push a partner too far and they are going to say, okay, that's it, enough, I'm not doing this anymore, you know, this isn't fun for me, I don't, you know, I never want to go back again, you know. So it is always important, you know, to take your other partner's feelings in consideration. Say, okay, you know, she's not feeling it. Usually it's she, because I don't ever think I've ever had a guy go, you know what, I'm just not feeling like sex tonight.
That's not true.
Well,
but it is a good thing, though. I mean, because if you get with that right couple, and you may be at one spot, and the conversation and everything, the chemistry is just right, you can always push that a little bit more to your comfort level. But you can always tell how that chemistry is going, whether you want to continue or kind of go a little farther too. So that's definitely good that you guys have sat there and you have little code words and things like that to help you out. Because you can always pull back, but you can, you know, once you cross that line,
you can't go back.
Yeah, so you could really ruin something by pushing the line if you're not ready for it. So that's why we always say, make sure whatever you're doing is where you want to be, because you can always stop, but once you go past that point, then you have to start all over again and kind of either build yourself up, or you're at the point where everything is ruined and then you're just going to walk away and there's going to be a lot of problems and issues. So that's why we always say make sure you're ready to go to that level. So we do have about 5 minutes left.
Do we have any questions, David?
We had a couple people tuning in. Tyler said hi, and he also said that he really enjoys being out in the tent area with the atmosphere. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun out there.
I'm sure a lot of the people that were going to tune in tonight kind of got pushed off because we didn't get to start on time.
We didn't start on time,
but that's okay. You know, things happen. You know, we try to get the shows going at a regular time, but things do come up. So it's a part of life. So with that, do you have any other questions, or do you have any advice you think you could give
somebody that's new?
Yeah. You know, like you guys say, you always communicate. We didn't. So if you're not sure what to talk about, you still need to at least communicate that point with each other, that, hey, I really don't know what I'm getting us into, but...
And that's okay, too. Telling each other that you don't know what to talk about, because then you guys can look into that together.
Yeah.
Rather than keeping it to yourself and just thinking to yourself, like, I don't know. Be open about everything. Be open about the fact that you have no idea. One step at a time. Just don't rush into it. Listen to the podcast. Like, that's my big thing, is listen to the podcast, because that is something that we decided to do after our second time. And since then, like, our relationship, I think, has gotten stronger.
Well, that's really good to hear. Like I said, we do it for that reason alone. I know for me, I'm very passionate about that, and I try to portray that when it comes across, so hopefully everybody else is getting that. With that, our next week's show, you're going to have to buckle your seat, though, because we're going to get a little crazy. We're going to do it talking about educating the public, and I'm going to be going off about city leaders and the legislators.
Oh my gosh.
And a few other things. And so it'll be an interesting show. But
I'll be sick during that podcast. No.
You'll probably be sitting off to the side. But
I will. if I do eye rolls, people just
Well, it needs to be said, but we really appreciate you guys coming out and sharing your time and going on camera and talking to other people.
It is
interesting because it really does help a lot of other people that are thinking about this, because I get emails daily from people, hey, we're thinking about getting into this, we've never gone to a club, we want to try the club experience. So the more perspectives and point of views that we can give the audience, they can kind of make that determination and see that they're normal people just like everybody else that's coming here, and they don't have to feel like there's something wrong with us or anybody else. They're doing it for the exact same reason everybody else is.
Yeah, and if the first time doesn't go as you planned, don't call it quits so fast. Like go a couple more times. Each time has been different for us.
Yeah,
right.
And we always tell people that. You always want to, your first time may not go as planned, and we always say don't plan on something the first time you come. You want to at least give that place 3, 4, 5 visits, because each time the dynamics are going to change, the people that are in there are going to change, you're going to meet different people, and your confidence levels, I mean, there's so many variables that go on with everything, so... But that's really great, and like I said, we really appreciate you guys giving your time to come in and talk to people and kind of just show them that there's other normal people out there, and what everybody is doing, there's nothing wrong with it. It is a normal thing that couples do.
Yeah.
So well, with that, we want to thank everybody for watching the show. We really hope this helps everybody out, and we hope to see you on the next episode, and get ready because we're going to turn the heat up a little bit. With that, I'm Rob, and this is Sarah, and we want to thank Dean and Becca, our guests, for coming in tonight. We will see you guys next week.
Good night, guys. Have a good evening.
Night.
Enjoy your week.